has really paid off.
And Christian Peck-Dimit.
Do you want to keep this job? Shut up, listen, learn.
The region's only local sports talk show, discussing it all from the preps to the pros.
What time is it? Game time!
Simulcasting on AM 730 Fox Sports Tri-State, streaming online at nwksradio.net and the Rockingham app.
They are everywhere.
The Blitz is presented by the Insurance Agency, the Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
There's a pitch, and he'll hit it to the left side, backhanded by the shortstop. Long throw on one hop, and great dig at the other end by Montero. And the pitch, and lined into right field. That's going to be a base hit. That's going to get to the wall. Doyle can run. He's hit second base. He's rounding third. He held up at third base into second base. Ryan McMahon.
3-2 pitch from Lugo. And it is called strike three. Got him looking. 8th strikeout of the day for Lugo.
Kicks and deals the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike three. Jackson Brockett has the first 9-inning no-hitter for the Nebraska Cornhuskers since 1954, and he did it on his 12th strikeout. The night belongs to 33.
6 made 3-pointers. Tatum fires another one up, and he drills out one center cut. Jason Tatum back-to-back possessions with threes.
Luka Doncic, as Reg said, he had the triple-double with 29, 10, and 10. He gets it up high with a nice dunk right there by Derek Jones. Chipping inside. Oh, it's picked up, pickpocketed right there by Irving. He goes behind the back. He goes in the power. He got it. He scores. He scores.
Hey, good Thursday morning. It is the Morning Blitz on 102.5 U-Rock, AM 730 Fox Sports Tri-State. Of course, also online, nwksradio.net, the Rockingham app. And, of course, video streaming available on your favorite social media accounts, Twitter, Facebook, as well as YouTube. Oh, man, special night last night. I tell you, that's what I want to kick off the show. A little bit of a highlight there was the sound of Jackson Brockett. So Nebraska and Kansas State played baseball last night. I'm going to set the scene here. So we talked about it a couple weeks ago. It's probably been closer, actually more a month ago. But anyway, it was over a month ago, and I said to Christian, I said, boy, there's a game you got to watch, and I think it's going to be Nebraska and Kansas State in baseball in a mid-seek. It's going to be a really, really good game because both programs are pretty solid this year, and both were playing very well at the time. That was a month ago. Over a month ago now, but that game got canceled due to weather that went through Manhattan, so it didn't get played. Well, they played again as it was regularly scheduled in Nebraska yesterday. And for those who don't know, since that point that we talked about, it's kind of been a little bit of a fall off for both teams. Nebraska's kind of fallen off a little bit, especially in the midweeks. Midweeks have been an issue for Nebraska. They've been an issue a little bit for Kansas State, who've both played some challenging teams in the midweek, but have just not had the success that they were hoping to in the midweek. Now, on the weekends, Nebraska's been pretty darn good, and on the weekends for Kansas State, a little bit up and down, as the record would show that for Pete Hughes' crew. But they get together, and last night, I knew it was going on. I joined a little bit late, though, because I was busy doing some other things, but I was able to tune in and watch a little bit of it. And anyway, it gets to be about the 6th inning, and they go to the break, and they put up the scoreboard box at the bottom, and it goes, Nebraska's got, 6 runs on 7 hits, whatever, and, an error or something like that. And then at the top with Kansas State, no runs on no hits with 2 errors. And I'm like, oh my gosh, through 6 innings, there's a no-hitter going on. Like we have a Johnny Holstaff no-hitter going on. No, it's still just one guy. I couldn't believe it. The big storyline for Nebraska baseball this year has been in the midweek. They have no extra pitching. Their weekend staff is fine. They have no extra pitching in the midweek. So it has been an absolute disaster in the midweek when it comes to pitching. But last night, Jackson Brockett goes out and throws a career high 102 pitches, strikes out 12, and has the first no-hitter in Nebraska baseball history since 1954. So, I mean, that is unbelievable. Just considering how bad Nebraska has looked, including getting spanked by their rivals Creighton the night before, to turn around and then get a no-hitter against a really good Kansas State program is unbelievable. I still cannot believe what happened last night in that baseball game. I know a lot of people are like, who gives a darn about that? Well, I just think it's unique and cool. Because if you know the story about how much struggles there have been in the midweek and how good of a team Kansas State is, and to see that happen for a young man who's had struggles this year to go out and throw a no-hitter, that's amazing. I mean, I've seen no-hitters at the major league level. I've never seen one at a college level. I've never seen one. So I've never seen one. I mean, not live, obviously, but I've never even watched one. So it was unbelievable last night. I could not believe what I watched, but that was just fascinating. It was something very unique, very cool. And like I said, I did not expect to see that last night, but I witnessed something last night that was pretty darn unique to see. A kid completely go past what he had ever thrown, especially at the collegiate level, and especially that season. His arm had to be absolutely on fire or numb. He probably didn't even feel it. He had thrown so much. And because as soon as there was a hit, he was going to get pulled. He was going to get pulled and say, great job tonight. You are fantastic. Come on in, bullpen. Let's finish this thing out. No, they just said, well, hey, they didn't tell him, and let's just keep going. And it's so fun to watch broadcasters and listen to broadcasters when there's a no-hitter going on, because you don't want to jinx it unless you're on the opposite side. You don't want to jinx it. So you're trying to find backward ways of saying, well, Kansas State has struggled to get on base today. They haven't done so yet. You don't want to say the words no hitter, because that's what happened last night. Very, very unique scenario. And if you follow it close enough, like I said, the struggles that have been all season long compiled with the fact that how bad midweek pitching has been, to seeing this young man go out there and throw 102 pitches, a career high, and get the first ever no-hitter since 1954. Once again, that is 70 years. I should say, cleared up a 9-inning no-hitter. They did have a 7-inning no-hitter back in 1981, but nonetheless, what a performance.
Just phenomenal. I don't think you said people are going to discount that or say they don't care. It's a no. Come on. I mean, people like myself may not care all that much about Nebraska college baseball.
College baseball in general, but yes.
Or college baseball in general. So, I mean, let's be real. That's sort of at the bottom of the list there with college swimming in terms of what I'm going to watch on a Friday night. But that doesn't make it any less of an impressive accomplishment. And it does remind me, this is a little bit off topic. I'm going to indict myself. When I first started calling softball games, I had no idea about the announcer's jinx thing.
Oh, no.
Because you got to think about, I was not a big baseball or softball guy growing up. So that and volleyball were baseball, softball, volleyball were mostly softball, volleyball were sports that I basically self-taught so that I could broadcast them. And they were in need of someone to do a softball game. And so I ended up doing a bunch that season. A lot of fun, blah, blah, blah. But because I was sort of a transplant fan, I had no idea about this rule. So there was our pitcher was throwing like a no through 3 innings. And I just said something stupid, just like said it like a broadcaster would if that wasn't a thing. Like, oh, she's sitting on.
She's got a no-hitter going on.
She's got a no-hitter through 3 or 4 innings or whatever it was.
Everyone
immediately gave up like 2 runs in that next inning. And I just remember I had friends on the softball team who went back and were watching film with the broadcast video and just were rightfully so giving me all kinds of crap. So I can never watch a no-hitter without remembering that all-time blunder.
Hey, we all have our blunders. Don't feel too bad about it. Anyway, very unique night last night in Lincoln with Jackson Brockett throwing a complete game, 9-inning no-hitter against Kansas State, which once again is a very good baseball program this year. So that was, I'm sure that was quite weird for them to say that they were kept off they had a couple guys reach. He only pitched 2 over the minimum. So only 2 guys reached base all night. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. It's a busy day today in local sports. We talked about how good we are tennis players yesterday. We're not very good, but regional tennis is going on today. It's the first postseason event of the 2024 spring sports season. Regional tennis gets going today for a lot of area athletes and athletes from Goodland and Colby, and their tennis teams will be heading to Ellsworth today for what is regional tennis. We'll see what happens. It will more than likely be a difficult task to overcome some of the other good teams in the area that they'll be facing. But regional tennis does get going today at Ellsworth High School for our area 3A schools. Of course, there are other regionals as well, but the first postseason event of the 2024 spring sports season does get going today with regional tennis. Today, maybe you'll be. Are you going to go out to? Why am I thinking? I can't think of it. Out to the Colby Golf Course today for the Colby Golf Invite there.
I don't think so. I think Christian will be doing a lot of Aaron Watson setup today.
Oh yeah, that's a valid point.
The Aaron Watson concert in the Colby Event Center Saturday night, and starting yesterday, a lot of Christian's non-morning blitz time at the radio station will be spent setting up and tearing down and lifting things up.
This is why Christian works out at the gym for the next couple of days, all the lifting and putting up of stuff. So he'll be ready for that. But the Colby Golf Invite is today, and Colby Community College baseball is at home as well. They host Dodge City for 2 games here this afternoon. It's the regular season home finale today. They'll have 2 games today. They'll play another 2 games on Saturday down at Dodge City. The regular season is over, and then the postseason will begin coming up here for Colby Community College baseball. Also, one more quick local sporting news thing here before we move on to kind of our first little quick topic of the morning. Region 6 Track and Field Outdoor Championships get going today at Pratt Community College. It's day 1 of, I think, like 3 or 4 days that they do it. Might actually be just a couple days, but nonetheless, there's been a really good story at Colby Community College Track and Field. Anita Afrifa, I probably am butchering her last name, but she's having a fantastic season. She won the U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association NJCAA Division I Female National Athlete of the Week, which is an absolute mouthful there, but that's what she won last week. And she was fantastic at the Fort Hays State University's Alex Francis Classic back on April 27th. She ran a 22.97 in the 200, which was wind aided, fastest at the meet by 1.5 seconds, which is a lot of time in the 200. She's also made her the 4th JUCO woman to run a sub 23 in any conditions in the 200. She is undefeated by collegians of any division at any distance outdoors and leads the NJCAA 100 with a wind-aided 11.44 and has a wind legal best of 11.66 in the 100-meter dash. Does Anita Afrifa. So she's having a phenomenal year. She got some recognition for it here this week by, once again, the Track and Field, or the U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association, getting some love for her. And once again, a great story there. I mean, that's a hard time sometimes to figure out, but it's hard times to achieve, but she's got it done. So anyway, shout out to them and good luck to all our JUCO track and field athletes as they go to Region 6 outdoor championships today at Pratt Community College. So wanted to highlight that real quickly there too with our quick little local sports flash, sports splash, whatever you want to call it there. But anyway, today we're going to have on the show Nick Birch of Mile High Report, talking the Denver Broncos and the NFL draft and kind of looking back from the Denver Bronco perspective and Bo Nix and all that. So Nick Birch is set to join us here coming up in about 10 to 15 minutes here on the program. But I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong. We probably touched on a little bit on winners and losers. I don't know if we've really talked a ton about the NFL draft a lot, but there was an interesting article that ESPN put out here not that long ago talking about what were the 2024 NFL draft, the best 100 picks, steals, and fits in the NFL draft from this year's draft class. And I thought it was interesting to roll through here because the one thing that stood out to me was that the Kansas City Chiefs have 5 of their picks in the top 100 of this list. 5 of their picks, which I find to be very fascinating at this. In case you're curious on where they all rank, I'll roll through that real quickly here. Xavier Worthy is the highest. He's actually ranked 4th in this list, is Xavier Worthy. Number 18 is a guy that I really like, is Jared Wiley, the tight end out of TCU. He's also he's number 18. Number 61 is Kamal Hayden, the cornerback for the Chiefs that they got, hopefully to replace L'Jarius Sneed. Safety Jaden Hicks. He was number 74 in this list. And then Kingsley Suamatiaya, I don't even know how to say his last name. He's the offensive tackle from BYU, which he's already drawn a lot of big praise from Jason Kelsey about his athleticism and his grit and toughness, all that. So those are, like I said, they had 5 guys in the top 100. And it continues to show that Brett Veach might just be the best GM in the NFL. He really knows how to draft well. They've done it for many years now. They've drafted very, very well on both sides of the ball, highlighted, of course, by Patrick Mahomes. But you can go and look at LeJarris Sneed or, Willie Gay. You can look at a ton of guys, Chris Jones. You can look at a lot of these guys. I don't know if he was there when Jones was drafted. I could be wrong on that. I'll double check that. But he's drafted a lot of great players, has Brett Veach, including Patrick Mahomes, obviously. And the list just continues to kind of grow here a little bit. 5 guys in the top 100. I don't even think there's any other team that's even close to that.
That's impressive. Let's pump the brakes. If we're talking about drafting, not the best GM in the NFL, certainly up there. But B, it's still very early. We can analyze draft picks all we want, but at the end of the day, it's like we've talked about a couple of times on here, it's an educated guess. I don't think we should, if we're adding to Veach's sort of aura as a drafter, let's pump the brakes and forget, or wait until they actually play a snap of NFL football and wait to grade them until after that. Not that, rankings make the world go around in sports media, and I get that.
Once again, it's something to just converse about, honestly. I'm not saying that this is the Bible or anything like that, but it is intriguing to see what other people think of what the Chiefs have done in the previous drafts, and it's without even these guys taking a snap. I don't know about Xavier Worthy. I question about how big he is, how physical he can be in the NFL. Will he? I know he's fast. I get that. But will he be physical enough to handle the NFL? We'll find out here. Maybe so. As I mentioned before, I'm a huge fan of the Jared Wiley pickup, which was in the 4th round. He's got Travis Kelce-like traits. He was a quarterback that was turned into a tight end, and he had great success. I don't know. I remember watching him in that Colorado TCU game, and he was open a lot. I remember watching TCU a couple times this year, and there's Jared Wiley. He's open. Don't get me wrong. He's not Ben Sinnott, who went to the Commanders from Kansas State. I think he was probably the top tight end in this draft. But Jared Wiley, I think is a very good tight end who's got great size at 6'6", very, very good about finding space. He literally kind of reminds me of another Travis Kelce. And as we know, Travis is on his way out of his career. He's got maybe a year or 2 left. And so to find a guy that maybe is like in the mold of Kelce, that Kelce could maybe help mold a little bit himself as he starts heading out the door, I think it's a pretty good idea. Pretty cool.
I completely agree. And it's sort of interesting. We have a very big Chiefs fan at the station here. And I was sort of talking before the draft about the idea of them obviously getting a pass catcher, but getting a tight end. And it was, oh no, Kelce's going to be here for more years, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then after the draft, suddenly he's changed his tune. But it is, I think, a good pick to sort of look at. Did Travis have a great postseason, a record-setting postseason, and of course help them win another Super Bowl? But realistically, you sort of glance back and forth and say he is on the decline. He did have his poorest overall year regular season in particular in a Chiefs uniform in a long time. So you got to be realistic, and we talked about it earlier. He got a massive extension for 2 years, and that might just be it for him in the NFL, which is fine, but you have to start planning for the future. I think taking Jared Wiley is a great step in that direction. I also cannot hope to pronounce Kinsley's name, the BYU tackle, but by all accounts, he's graded real high by just about everybody. And it seems like that is a great value pick. I don't know about a steal, but it's up there in terms of if you're looking for a Chiefs winner, that's there. And obviously trading with the Bills to get Worthy is especially crazy. We talked about it right after it happened Friday morning. Does it confuse me a little bit? Obviously, because it's sort of exactly what the Bills would have needed. They ended up getting plenty of receivers, so it's their
They
own
got
thing.
Keon Coleman, which is Keon Coleman, a tall wide receiver. I think he's actually 6'5", 6'6", and Keon Coleman
was one of my top receivers in the draft. I absolutely loved his tape. Uber athletic guy. I had him at number 4 on my receiver rankings, right past Rome Odunze on that top 3 upper echelon. I'm not saying he's in that mix, but after a phenomenal couple of years at Michigan State, he went to an offense that actually had offense and shined immediately. I'm sure everyone remembers that hat trick he had of touchdowns, obviously, against LSU. I think that's a great value pickup for them. Regardless, people love Xavier Worthy, and what did the Chiefs need more than anything after last season is speed on the outside. Does Worthy need to maybe put on a couple of pounds? Yes. Can he improve his intermediate route tree? Also, yes. But he's a great downfield threat. His hands are pretty good, and I think he sort of gives, especially alongside Hollywood Brown, a downfield stretch that the Chiefs offense needed.
I was going to just say real quickly, I was looking at like some of this, at least in this list, according to ESPN, which I thought was interesting. Once again, it doesn't have to do with I think it was kind of what was the best pick for the spot that they had and the fit they're going to have with the team. And, number 1 and number 2 was Rome Odunze and Caleb Williams. That was 1 and 2 on this list.
As they should be.
Marvin Harrison went 3, Xavier Worthy 4, and then Jaden Daniels, the quarterback, going to the Commanders at 5. Center Zach Frazier to the Steelers at 6. Adonai Mitchell of the Colts, or the wide receiver, going to the Colts at 7. Cooper DeJean, who was an unbelievable fall from probably could have been a first-round pick, went to the Eagles. That was number 8. Dallas Turner of the Minnesota Vikings, they're at number 9. And Terrion Arnold of the Lions was number 10 on this list here, which I once again thought was just a very unique list, a fun list to kind of talk about. Real quick, before we get to break, I wanted to highlight the Broncos quickly. And the Broncos had 3 guys. Audric Estimine, the running back out of Notre Dame, the big bruising guy. He was a 5th-round pick. He's the highest one for the Broncos at number 17 on this list. He was way up there. Bo Nix comes in at number 50. Most people, once again, thinking that it was a reach to get Bo Nix to where he was, including Christian. And Chris Abrams-Drain at number 70. He's a cornerback out of Missouri. With a 5th-round selection, the Broncos got him. And so those are the 3 guys that were taken there by the Broncos. As Christian said very well, the value of these picks, which was very interesting to see. So any thoughts on the Broncos, guys, that they selected? Once again, besides Bo Nix, it wasn't like a super sexy draft for them. You saw a lot of pieces that you hope to see and develop over the next year or 2.
Yeah, I think it sort of, you put it really well. Wasn't super sexy, but I think outside of Nix, and I'm critical of the Nix pick, I think it was poor value for that time, especially now in retrospect, with the fact that the Raiders ended up not taking a quarterback, not only in that first round, but in this draft period. Regardless, I think outside of that, and obviously they didn't have the 2nd-round pick, in terms of their late draft drafting, I think they did a great job. I think it's not super sexy like Ross said, but it's what you need, because along with that Wilson trade and a couple of other moves and getting Sean Payton, they don't have a ton of high draft capital, not this year, and they won't for the next couple of years. So what do they need to stay in that like desperately clinging to win now type of situation that they're in, where they're like not quite rebuilding, but they can't realistically compete in their own division, but they want to grab some wins? What do they need to do to stay there? They need to have great late round picks like they had. This kid out of Notre Dame is awesome. He's a bruiser, and that's sort of the identity that he has, rightly so. But he's not bad speed-wise. I think he has potential to be a legitimate mainstay in the running back room for the Broncos. Obviously, their Missouri DB that they picked up real good.
Chris Abrams-Drain.
Chris Abrams-Drain. And Troy Franklin is another pick that if you're going to put Bo Nix on your top 50 in terms of value in this draft, you cannot do that without also putting Troy Franklin up there as well. Had the best receiving season in Ducks history. Second team All-American kid last year, almost 1,400 receiving yards. Not only that, but you've got a quarterback coming in that's going to be playing a very different style of offense than he played in a year ago. Go get him his best target. Some of the best quarterbacks right now in the NFL have their top receiver from college alongside them. I think that's a nice little thing to give as well, alongside Nix, help him transition better.
Well, we'll see how it all shakes out. We don't know until we actually start playing some games. But we will take a break right now, come back. Nick Birch is going to join us from Mile High Report. We'll get his thoughts on the Broncos, the Bo Nix draft pick, and much, much more. So stick around as we get to continue here on a Thursday on the Morning Blitz.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle.
So if you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, call now. Find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-460-3550 to speak with a live person now.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Thursday, May 2nd. And May corn on the overnight traded higher 6 1/4 at 449.5. July up 6 at 456 1/4. September up 5 1/4 at 464 1/4. December up 5 at 477 3/4. May soybeans up 15 1/4 at 1171. July up 13 1/2 at 1183 3/4. August up 12 1/4 at 1184. And September beans up 11 1/4 at 1172 1/2. Chicago wheat, the May contract up 10 3/4 on the overnights at 592 1/4. July up 7 3/4 at 607. September up 7 3/4 at 626 3/4. And December up 7 1/2 at 653 1/4. Kansas City wheat, the July contract up 12 at 637. September up 11 3/4 at 650 1/4. December up 11 3/4 at 671 1/4. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up 200 at 38,268. The S&P up 34 at 5,080. NASDAQ up 142 at 17,581. Gold lower $5.10 an ounce at 2,305. And crude oil up 24 cents a barrel at 79.22. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hanke at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Slito, Jared Law, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Challenge. It's not something you shy from. It's a chance to up your game. Every day brings a new challenge, but with the enhanced Channel Seed brand on your side, you can rise to it. With our top-performing seed, innovative digital tools, and expanded agronomic support, you can turn tomorrow's challenges into your next advantage. Your enhanced Channel Seed brand. Let's rise to the challenge. Learn more at channel.com/rise. Read and follow pesticide label directions, IRM, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
The weeds are coming! The weeds are coming!
Hey, I'll repair.
This whole midnight ride thing is getting really...
But the HPPD-resistant weeds are coming.
We've got Verdict herbicide.
Verdict herbicide?
Yeah, it's a non-HPPD corn pre-herbicide from BASF.
Oh, well then, get some sleep.
Yeah, will do.
The weeds are coming! Switch to Verdict herbicide! Always read and follow label directions!
Phones nowadays can do practically anything, including feed you.
And now they cannot.
Well, that is if you download the McDonald's app. Use the McDonald's app to get deals on the food you love, including McCafes, soft drinks, fries, and so much more. Plus, keep up to date on what's trending at McDonald's with the latest promotions, events, new products, and specials. You can even order and pay from the app. So download it today and score from your local McDonald's at Burlington, Colby, Goodland, and Lamar.
Hey, it's Brian Haney, the voice of the Jayhawks, and you're listening to my main man, Ross Volkmer. He may be a Husker, but he also knows how to rock chalk. And you're listening to the Morning Blitz right here on 102.5 You Rock.
Continuing on a Thursday show, glad you're with us here on the Morning Blitz. As always, thoughts and comments welcome on our text line, the number 785-899-2222. On the text line during the break, Michael texted again. He can't wait to see Javonte and Estime team up in the backfield with the Broncos there. So we'll see how that all shakes out. We welcome into the program Nick Birch. He writes for MileHighReport.com. He'll talk a little Denver Broncos with us now. Good morning, Nick. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good, Ross. How are you?
Doing good. Nick, let's just dive right into the draft, man. What were your overall thoughts on this year's draft for Denver? I know there's a lot of controversy about the pick, of course, of Bo Nix, but we've had a few days to kind of let it marinate. So I'm curious where you sit as we sit here today.
Well, I think I think Sean Payton accomplished what he wanted to do. I know that the Bo Nix pick is going to have to be something that gets truly graded, a couple of years from now, as to whether they reached too early or whether or not, Sean Payton is the genius that he's been renowned as. I do think that outside of the Nix pick, even though I know that's kind of what everyone wants to talk about right now, I think they had a rather outstanding draft after that. I think I was a little bit concerned at first that for the Broncos that they didn't trade back and get a round 2 pick. But it sounds like, according to Kim, who said it, but it sounds like the Rams were ready to take Bo Nix at 19 if he was available. So I think that Sean Payton, if Nix really was his guy, that he made the right call. And it sounds like he was all in on him and ranked him third on his QBs. But I really liked him. I think my favorite pick was the round 4 pick of Troy Franklin, and that's not just because he played with Nix at Oregon, although that will help the transition for both of them, I believe. But I think that he was I think on paper he was probably more like a round 2 or 3 guy. His stats are outstanding. I think he's got the speed to compete with just about anybody in the defensive backfield in the AFC West. He's got several records at Oregon, who was a record-setting offense last year in general. I think that had he not, I think he got some kind of stomach bug before the combine, and it kind of may have stuck his numbers up a little bit. But what that was is the Broncos game, and I think that he is somebody that can come in, especially with the Willie Woney surrounding Cortland Sutton. I think that he's a guy that they should be able to rely on fairly early. He's not the most physical guy, but I think he's got the traits to be a starting caliber NFL wide receiver. And then you got the pick with Jonah Ellis in round 3. I think some mock draft specialists thought that if the Broncos did not go with Nix in round 1, they would go with a pass rushing specialist, given that I don't think that anyone has had 10 sacks for the Broncos since Von Miller did back in, I think, 2018. So I think that given that it was such a big part of the Broncos' identity for so long, that they would want to get back to that. But I do think that Jonah Ellis can help the pass rush in that regard. Now, will he personally be putting up 10 sacks, double-digit sacks like he was at Utah? Probably not with his first season, first couple of seasons. But I think what you look at with him is that you have Ellis now, along with Baron Browning, who was banged up last year, a developing Nick Bonitto, and Jonathan Cooper. And I think all of those guys combined can give you a good pass rushing, core that can disrupt the AFC West and other people that other teams in the AFC that are going to give you problems with quarterbacks. And I guess they could also, I think that it could be interesting what they do with Drew Sanders there now that Jonah Ellis is on board. He was outside last year, but Josie Jewell left in free agency. So could they move him back into the inside, see what happens there? But overall, and then they got some, late round steals, I thought. Audric Estime, I thought, was a heck of a pick for them in round 5. Played for a very good Notre Dame offense. Ironically, being that I'm a University of Louisville fan, the one bad game he had was against Louisville. Every other game, it seemed like he was 80 to 100 plus, yards. I think he averaged over 6 yards a game last year. And I do think that given that Javonte Williams did not have the best season last year, I'm not sure he's a true RB1. I do think having Estime in the backfield there with him is going to give them a nice 1-2 punch. No offense to P. Ryan, I just don't think he's going to be the any kind of a bell cow back when it comes to carries. But I think Williams and Estime as the ball carriers, with P. Ryan as a good pass blocker, and you still got Jaleel McLaughlin, who can be that Kevin Falk type for you. So I think they did a good job by bringing him in to help share the load. I just don't think Williams did a great job last year of being the bell cow back. So having him with some help back there should benefit the offense the way Sean Payton wants to run it. And I like the wide receiver from Utah, Devon Bell. I think he was a solid pick too. I think he could. I think he's got potential to be a rotation guy. And then those are, and then of course you round out with round 7. You got Nick. I'm not going to pretend like I know much about this guy, Gargulio from South Carolina. You can obviously bolster the depths there. And then the defensive back from Missouri, Chris Abrams-Drain, solid enough player himself. I think that he could at least, with some question marks in the secondary outside of the starting rotation, he can maybe challenge for a spot in a rotational spot, or at least provide special team space. So overall, I think the Knicks pick is going to be questioned quite a bit until he takes a snap at least. And then I think what people may overlook is that I think that Sean Payton had quite an effective draft after that very few people can debate.
We're visiting with Nick Birch of Mile High Report here on the Morning Blitz. Going back to Nick's, why, in your opinion, was he not as highly ranked as some of the other quarterbacks? This guy at Oregon, broke the record for the highest completion percentage. He really had a great last couple of years at Oregon. Why do you think he's just not as good as some of the quarterbacks that were taken before him?
It's interesting you ask that, because I do agree with that sentiment that now, while I'm not going to say that Bo Nix should have been a top 5 pick or anything like that, I think that a lot of the criticism around him was unfounded. I think a lot of people still can't get past his less than stellar performance at Auburn when he was younger. I think that people may look at his stats at Oregon and say that's the system, that's not the quarterback. But individual stats don't lie to me. I don't think that you should fluff them too much, especially in the Pac-12 when you're not exactly going up against a steel curtain of defenses. But 77% completion percentage, a 45-3 touchdown to interception ratio. The guy is controlled and efficient. And I think another one of the criticisms is his age. He's 24 years old. I think some analysts may feel that he has peaked and he can no longer grow in that regard. But I gotta say, I disagree with that. I think, he's still young. I mean, you can't say that, at 24 as a rookie, he's peaked. And then at the same time say guys like Zach Wilson just need a fresh start somewhere, and they still have all the potential in the world. And that's not nothing against Zach Wilson. I'm just using him as an example. But you can't play both sides of that same coin. So with the Knicks, I look at a guy who is a football junkie, a very efficient passer. And one thing I did too that kind of makes me roll my eyes. I think that in the last several years, a lot of experts have fallen in love with arm strength. That how far can you throw the ball? The Josh Allen types, big arms. And while that is an impressive feat, I am much more impressed with efficiency. Like, how well do you control the ball when it's in your hands? How are you distributing it across the line? And what I think Bo Nix does well is he spreads the ball across the field very well. While I don't think he's going to, throw any 78-yard bombs, I think he still has a good enough deep ball to where he's going to find his guys quick. He's going to be able to. I think he's great at what I think he did well at Oregon that he did not do at Auburn was his pre-snap reads. So I think he's a smart quarterback, and I'll take a smart quarterback over a guy with a big arm who may not be able to call an audible any day. So I think that Sean Payton knew what he was doing when he drafted Nix. But in the NFL, anything can happen. There's no such thing as a sure thing. There's no such thing as everybody's an expert until somebody takes a snap. So I think that Nix has as much potential as any first-round quarterback does. And I think that I would pencil him in as the day one starter, barring any kind of injuries or any kind of setbacks. But I like the pick personally. I thought that he was the most efficient quarterback on the board at that point. I thought, and I think that the biggest criticism of the pick in general, not necessarily Nix himself, was that he went too high. But if you trade back for him, I think somebody said this. Somebody told me this too, and I agree with it. If Peyton had traded back for him, it means that you didn't like him that much. It means like, hey, we don't like you enough to take you here, but if you're there in 8 picks, we'll take you. The fact that he took him at pick 12 meant that knowing that he could have been there later said to me that he's Peyton's guy. And Sean Payton's been around quarterbacks longer than I've been alive. So I think that I'm going to go ahead and trust Sean Payton on this one and trust what I've seen with Bo Nix with my own eyes. And given that the Broncos have been playing musical chairs with quarterbacks since Peyton Manning retired, I think it was imperative that they tried to find a signal caller in this draft. I think Sean Payton believes he has found his.
Nick Birch is our guest. Nick, we got time for one more quick question here, about 60 seconds or so. I just wanted to know your thoughts on this is kind of the first full offseason underneath Sean Payton. Besides the draft, how else do you feel like Denver has done?
I thought that they're still handcuffed free agency wise by Russell Wilson's contract, but I thought they did well with what they had to work with. I like the pick of Josh Reynolds. I thought he was a good pick. They just, I can't remember the name of the guy right now. He's drawing a blank. They just acquired a defensive tackle.
Franklin Myers, I think.
Thank you. Yes, that's him. Yes. So I think that they have done a good enough job. I think the offensive line was good enough last year. I thought that Russell Wilson didn't do them any favors by holding on to the ball so long. but I don't think you're gonna. I don't honestly don't think you're gonna have that problem with Knicks. So while I don't think they were as splashy as many fans had hoped they would have been, I think they made some good moves to shed some payroll, and I think that honestly, I was okay with the loss of Jerry Jeudy, as I just don't think he was going to get there with Denver. Best of wishes to him, but I think it was a quiet, but not. I wouldn't call it a failure at all. I think they did what they had to do to save some cap, and while at the same time, I don't think they got any worse, and I think they put together some pieces that will make them a contender in the AFC West. Excuse me.
Nick Birch there of the of Mile High Report. Thank you, Nick, so much for the time. Appreciate it, my friend, and we'll talk down the road. All right.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Once again, great stuff there from Nick Birch there on Mile High Report. You know what the funny story was? I saw this week, Christian, when it came to the Broncos was. It was breaking news, or sources say the Broncos not going to pick up the extra year on Russell Wilson's contract. You think? You think? That made front page news on ESPN. They're not going to pick up his 5th-year option when he's not on their team. You think?
Well, Ross, they're already paying him like $60 million not to play football for him.
What?
So nothing is out of the realm of possibility.
Someone lost a bet at ESPN, said, "I dare you," or took a dare. "I dare you to put this on."
Have you seen ESPN lately? Everybody's losing bets.
That was bad. Oh, there was a burn. All right, is that a burn towards Bet ESPN? Is that the burn there?
Yes, that's definitely what I meant, and not just ESPN in general. A little bit of both. Yeah.
All right, we got to get to a break. We'll come back, walk it off with the Royals and Rockies, and of course an NBA playoff update. One team did advance the next round. That's next here on the Morning Blitz.
Weigel Concrete LLC of Colby is the best choice for concrete contracting in Northwest Kansas. Sean and his crew at Weigel Concrete have years of experience and can handle all types of concrete construction jobs. They're fully licensed and insured and take a great deal of pride in doing the job right the first time, every time. Weigel Concrete LLC is Northwest Kansas proud and ready to serve you. Call 785-443-5784. That's 785-443-5784. Weigel Concrete LLC of Colby.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery ingestion and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Hey, it's Brian Haney, the voice of the Jayhawks.
A two-hand follow jam is true for Josh Jackson.
You're listening to the Morning Blitz with my main man, Ross Volkmer, right here on 102.5 You Rock.
I just got called out on the text line during the break because I'm a complete and utter idiot. It's not Russell Wilson, it's Zach Wilson they're not picking up the option for. My bad. I'm an idiot. I even clicked on that LinkedIn Reddit. I thought it was Russell Wilson. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm a moron. I can accept it. Won't be the first time something dumb was said on this show already. Royals and Rockies, a winner yesterday for the Royals. Seth Lugo was great. 7 innings. They win 6-1 over the Blue Jays. They won 5 of 7 against the Blue Jays here this season. Salvador Perez continues to be an ageless wonder. 355, 27 RBIs for him. He was fantastic again yesterday. Royals have a much-deserved off day today. They'll host the Rangers starting tomorrow. Rockies lose again, 4-1 yesterday to the Marlins. Dakota Hudson allowed 2 runs on 5 hits over 5 2/3. Just no offense. They had 4 total hits. 1 was a double. The rest were all – sorry, I think they had 5 total hits. It was 4 hits. 1 double, 3 singles is all the Rockies could muster yesterday Once again, first team since 1900 to have trailed at one point in each of their first 30 games. That's just going to keep on lingering. And I remember a quote one time saying, it was not that long, someone was saying, if we're going to be bad, we might as well just be horrifically bad, so that at least we can set some records and have our names there. I think I was reading that in an article. They were talking about the White Sox and how bad they were. If we're going to be bad, let's just be horrifically bad, so they can at least do that for us.
They are definitely that.
Yeah.
It's McMahon, it's Tovar, and it's a prayer.
Yeah, it's not a good year for the Rockies, obviously. Very, very bad.
A 3-run walk-off home run. A game-winning walk-off with a walk-off.
His second walk-off hit of the season. In walk-off fashion. That baby's go.
As we continue here on the Blitz, once again, a reminder, regional tennis today for area tennis players at Ellsworth. For those who are curious, top 6 singles and top 6 doubles at each regional tournament will qualify for the state competition. So good luck to them here today. NBA playoffs yesterday, Christian. It was an easy win for the Celtics. They steamroll the Heat, and it's the Mavericks. It's the Dallas Mavericks that take down the Clippers there last night.
Yeah, I picked wrong there, but man, the Mavericks defense is just on one right now. They really seem to. It's sort of odd. They spent whatever it was 2, 3, or 4 years being unable to pair enough good talent that fit around Luka, and then they sort of snapped their fingers and put it all together in 1 year, where now it just is the perfect little combo of lob threats and shooters and playmakers around him. They dominate a Clippers team that shot 20% from 3.
What about tonight? Any thoughts on tonight? Who's going to win tonight? How about just a couple win predictions?
You know what? I think the Bucks, I'll do an if. If Lillard plays, I think the Bucks can win again tonight. They are in Indy, so that's something to watch. And honestly, I think it's a toss-up. The Knicks both of these teams can blow 3-1 leads. The Pacers and the Knicks.
For Christian Peck-Dimit, I'm Ross Volkmer. We'll see you back here again tomorrow on a fun Friday. We'll see you then.